Okay, lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. Here we go. Guys, welcome. I do apologize. This has come out really late. I popped a Q&A thing out on Instagram and other social media and also on my coaching platform. Um, I was trying to, this was like a few weeks ago, but you know what? We've had Christmas. We had Christmas now. Just leave us, and I've been spending time with family. Hope you've all had a lovely Christmas as well. It's a busy time of year for us PTs. So I mean, yeah, I've got a list of questions here. That I'm going to ask, just fitness related, lifestyle related. I do have a live open chat, so we'll see if anyone comes on there. But it is there, so if you do want to challenge me, pick up my brains, then yeah, you can join in. If not, if you have missed this live, then you can tune in and watch it whenever, really. So without further ado, let's get into some of these questions. Starting off, Emma, what's your best advice for sticking to a diet when you're surrounded by temptation? I mean, it is tough because there's temptations everywhere, isn't it? But like ultimately, the best way I can stick to my diet is I usually try and have a lot less temptations in the house of things like snacks, crisps, everything like that. If you're kind of, if you're really struggling to kind of stick to a diet, yeah, just maybe not buying as much crap and just having it in the house. Because how easy is it just to access shit that you can just get in the fridge, right? How easy is it? So I mean, you know, don't go too crazy with it. Remember, just be consistent. But there will be times where you will just snack, and if you have snacked a lot in one day, just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just get back on the grind the next day. And you'll be absolutely fine. So don't worry about it. It's what makes you human at the end of the day, Emma. Yeah. Right. Moving on. Jake, what's the most ridiculous excuse someone's given you for skipping a workout? Uh, trying to think off the top of my head now. People say things like it's too cold outside or it's too dark. And while I do believe that at least 50% of the workout is just turning up to the gym, um, you know, I wouldn't say it all comes down to what your priorities are in life, because we're all going to get days where we can't be asked. That's what makes us human, right? So just don't worry about it. Just turn up and you'll feel better for it. No person has ever regretted doing a workout, have they? So if you're giving me an excuse that you can't turn up, the only person you're really cheating is yourself. I'll still be there. I'll still get paid at the end of it, so don't bother me. Okay, Tom, do you think stretching is actually important, or is it just overrated? I do believe in stretching maybe before a workout. Just raising your body temperature is also very important. Just warming up the muscles before you begin a session. Do I believe in stretching afterwards? Not really. I mean, the muscle is battered from working out anyway. I don't really see much benefit in stretching after workout. That is just my opinion. We are normally advised, especially as gym instructors, to cool down stretch after a workout anyway. Just looks better, doesn't it? It looks better, and usually if you didn't do a cool down afterwards, a lot of people would get funny with that. But yeah, definitely do some dynamic stretching, or even just pop 5-10 minutes on the treadmill before your exercise is what I would suggest you do. Okay, Lauren, what's one fitness trend you absolutely hate and wish would disappear? I wouldn't know so much about fitness trend, as it were. I mean, a lot of what fitness influencers promote and stuff like that, I think there's really just kind of there's a weird dynamic in the fitness industry, because a lot of people just want to be fitness influencers with millions of Instagram followers and TikTok followers, whatever. And it's all about just kind of posing in front of the camera and your Gymshark set and all the rest of it. I believe fitness, we should sort of bound together more as a community and actually help each other out. Similar to how, like, if you were performing an exercise incorrectly in the gym, I'd half expect someone, without being a knobhead, to come over and just say, look, mate, I'm not your dad, but you are doing this exercise incorrectly. So I'm just giving you some advice out there. And I believe that's kind of what I want to promote, especially on my fitness channel as well. Just here to help everybody as best I can. Anyway, Steve, how do you deal with people who think they know more about you than fitness? I mean, Steve, there are fucking so many more people that know a lot more things about fitness than I do. I've only been in this realm for about 2 years. 2 years really, and I've learned a lot in those 2 years, but you know, I think we should be more what's the word I'm looking for? We should just embrace people that know a lot more. The more reading you do on a subject, the more clarity that you can get, the better, really. And that's probably what I would suggest that people do. A lot of people are quite, ignorant in their thought process anyway. So a lot of people are going to think that they know more than you anyway. But I just try not to let it bother me. They're not trying to be rude. I think they're just more excited to share some of their information they've heard without doing any proper research on it. I'll just listen, give them a nod, and let them do their own thing. At the end of the day, the results kind of speak louder than words, really. So see how they come with it. But yeah, it's my job really to just kind of take my knowledge and merge the two with like pop culture. So that's kind of how I deal with all these situations. Okay, Rachel, what's the worst workout mistake you've ever made? I think a lot of this would come to when I first started training in the gym when I was probably about 17 or 18. I mean, the most common one would be just the ego lift. I used to do a low row, so a cable seated low row, and usually you would just jerk yourself back with the weights. I used to put the whole stack on. Rachel. Whole stack, leaning all the way back in. And yeah, and you know what? It was a very humbling experience to be told that I was doing that incorrectly. And when I started doing the exercise correctly, I had to dial the weight back down about 3 times what I was originally doing. So that was a very humbling experience for me. And things like deadlifting, way more than what I was actually capable of doing, to the point where I could have easily popped my back doing so. Which is why that when I train a lot of people now, I tend to, I say, look, this is how you do it. This is the form. Let's start here. And they say, okay, this is really difficult. And I say, yes, because you're doing it correctly. But ultimately, you're here and you can only steadily progress from here, is what I tell them. But to do things incorrectly, you just run the risk of injuring yourself. And yeah, and then you have to dial it back down, which is humbling, but it's all part of the process, isn't it? We live and we learn. Every day's a school day, isn't it? Okay, Ben, how do you train without getting bored in the same routine all the time? I mean, a lot of what we do is kind of very repetitive. A lot of people will train, at the same time every single day. They might do the same things, but ultimately, if you've got a plan in place and that plan is getting you results and where you want to be, and if it works for you, mate, then that's what you've just kind of got to remember. These might be things like mundane, they're chores, but ultimately, if you're hitting PBs and you're noticing the changes, you just got to keep to the same thing. And it's exactly the same with your diet, Ben. So I wouldn't worry too much. Maybe you can get like a trainer or someone to like rotate a program for you like every month. This is normally what I do as a coach myself. So yeah, I'm happy to do that. Sophie, do you think rest days are actually necessary, or can I train every day? I do believe that rest days are necessary. When I was a lot younger, I hardly took any rest days, but then I felt like I wasn't pushing myself hard enough. And if you feel like you can carry on going without injuring yourself or making your life shittier, then by all means go for it. But this is why things like bro splits are really good, because you train one body part or 2 body parts, and then you can focus on like a lower plan as well for the next day. So while your upper body's resting, you're absolutely smashing your legs, your core, whatever, and then you just rotate that back. But Sophie, if you feel like you can train the next day and not be buggered for it or hate your life as a result, then by all means go for it. By all means go for it. Just realised how many questions I bloody got here. God, I might be here a while. Do apologise, Mud. Do apologise. Mark, what's your opinion on cheat meals? Is it worth it, or do you reckon it's a slippery slope? I mean, cheat meals can definitely be part of a balanced diet. If 5 days out of the week you're hot on it, and you might just go balls to the wall on a Saturday night, then you will still technically be in a net reduction, especially if you know, counting calories. But ultimately, it's just going to do is just, you know, it might just take you a little longer to get where you want to be. I wouldn't worry too much about it. As long as you're not being, you know, as long as you're not having a cheat day sort of every other day, then you'll be fine. Tina, what's the funniest thing you've ever seen happen in a gym? Truthfully, I don't really know. I find it quite funny, or I try and hide a smile when someone tends to scream in the gym when they're lifting like a weight, or if they're getting like a PB, which I've never really understood why people do. But I've heard people absolutely fucking lift, you know, and I'm just there like, what is the point? What is the fucking point? Just, you know, all right, we all grunt a bit, we all breathe excessively when we're lifting heavy weight, but what's the point of shouting? I don't know, you just get a lot of dodgy looks. Never really understood why people do that. Anyway, Liam, how long do you think it takes to really see results from weight training? It really depends on what you want to do. If it's sort of like hypertrophy based style training, so things just like just increasing muscle mass across the board, usually they say on a period between like 8 to 12 weeks of proper training and nutrition as well. If it's more like strength focused, you can start to see differences within like 2 weeks, honestly. Especially if you're like new to the gym, there's something called newbie gains, where people that are not trained before, they will just be able to see a massive difference within like the first year of their training. If you're like a sort of gym veteran, if you've been training for like 10 years, sometimes you might not even see like a 10% increase in muscle mass. So, which is why a lot of people turn to anabolic steroids later on in their gym life. It's just the cookie crumbles, I'm afraid. Okay. Megan, is it okay to sit cardio if I hate it, or do I really need it? If you absolutely despise cardio, at the end of the day, you could do things like walking and stuff, and which is still really good for things like fat loss, and just improving your health, your health trackers overall. It could be, Megan, that you might just be doing the wrong form of cardio. I mean, you know, there are other forms of cardio, things like swimming, or you know, you could do things like a combat sport, maybe. Go for like a brisk walk, even like dancing, you know, things like that. So if you can find cardio to do in your day-to-day activities, then you'll be absolutely fine. There'll be no issues with that whatsoever. But it's not the be all end all. We kind of really do cardio to just kind of improve our overall fitness. If you're looking to do cardio for things like fat loss, that's going to be like down to the amount of calories you consume as well. So yeah. Okay, Dan, what's your favorite pre-workout meal or snack? I don't really have like a pre-workout that I take. I would say a pre-workout for me would just be like my black coffee that I drink usually about an hour before. And I don't really like something that just kind of sits in my stomach before I train. I've actually had recently, right? I've had some amazing workouts fasted, which means fasted is just another word for not eating, basically. But you know, sometimes I'll train on an empty stomach, and some of the greatest workouts I've had. But yeah, you know, or just like a small protein bar. I'd usually try and have something small before I train. I don't really like training on a full stomach. I used to years ago, but now not so much. Jess, what's the one piece of advice you wish someone had given you when you started training? Again, this might be a bit of a cop-out answer, but just being consistent with it. Just being consistent, maybe just actually coming up with a plan. I freestyled a lot when I first started training in the gym. And whilst a lot of it did work for me, I was consistent enough to just keep up with it. And I know we're sort of coming into the new year now. And the running joke is a lot of people that start in January are going to be out by mid-Feb. And there will be a lot of people that do that. It actually saddens me really, because you know, we've all started, most people that actually start in the gym kind of start in January, and just a few of those people maybe have just had a plan or just had some support that's allowed them to continue that on further. So yeah, I would just definitely say, yeah, be consistent, and it's not about, you know, being perfect, and it's just being better than you were, you know, weeks after progressive overload and lifting with proper form. That's what I would suggest that people continue to do. All right, Luke, what's your secret to not losing your mind when dealing with annoying clients? I mean, look, mate, I'm a PT, right? When I took this job, I just knew that there were going to be people that are going to come up to me with loads of questions that they might have, and these are just general people that don't really understand like why they lift or how certain things work in fitness. Then I don't think they're trying to be annoying. They might just be nervous or excited, or they don't really know, like, again, why they are in the gym in the first place, and they just look to someone like a personal trainer for just a bit of advice, and someone that can just kind of calm their nerves a little bit and just be there to support them, be that crutch for them. And you know what, look, mate, I kind of keep it chill with a lot of my clients, because a lot of who I train, they are just there to just kind of improve their life on a day-to-day basis. We're not really here to train for any like competitions or anything like that. So I don't really, it doesn't bother me at all. I don't see clients as annoying. They pay my bills at the end of the day, so I'm not going to be, subjective in that sense. Okay, Chris, what's been your highlight of PT Me, and are you ready for 2025? I am ready for 2025. Yes, got loads of things planned. That's not me just saying like, oh, I'm gonna just commit to everything come January. I'm just trying to improve from where I was before. But definitely the highlight for PT and you, mate, is just seeing how far you've come in this last year. I remember you came up to me and you were just only interested in doing sort of one-to-ones, and then I said, look, mate, why don't you hop on my program, Demside Coaching, and I will just take you from there. And since you have done, mate, I'm not going to lie, your whole fitness and your composition is elevated drastically. So I can only commend you, Chris, mate. You just got to keep it up coming into the new year. Okay, Matt, what's the largest mammal you could strangle to death? Probably you, mate. Probably you. This is becoming. You asked me something like this last time, didn't you? I don't know what your problem is, mate, to be honest with you, or what this domestic abuse against all animals has to do with this live Q&A, but that's fine. That's fine, mate. I'm here for it. Okay, Charlotte. Hello, mate. Hope you're well. Best way to shift tummy weight post baby. Charlotte. Hello. Bonjour. Good to see you. First off, you've got to give yourself credit. I mean, you've just gone through perhaps one of the most toughest things like a human can actually do. So I wouldn't say being too hard on yourself. If it's tummy weight you're looking to shift, remember we can't exactly spot reduct body fat. What you can do is just be consistent in the gym, pop yourself in a relatively low calorie control deficit. Maybe I wouldn't suggest crash dieting. And try and keep your proteins high as well. Maybe start off by like gentle movements, so things like pelvic tilts or glute bridges. Maybe try some home workouts first, see how you get on, and then if you wanted to proceed that into a gym environment, then you can. But obviously, I can understand with a newborn in the world, you are a little bit strapped for time, and I can appreciate that. Your body's been through a lot, Charlotte. Your body's been through a lot, so that isn't, that weight isn't going to shift overnight. But I would just say, yeah, maybe just pop yourself in a slight deficit. Maybe go for some more walks if you can. And yeah, if you ever feel stuck, just give me a shout. All right, we'll go for it. Okay, J.Kaza, what's the best thing to take or do before hitting weights on the gym? Like I was saying earlier, maybe just warm yourself up. Maybe like just pop on the treadmill, like on an incline for like 5 or 10 minutes. Nutrition wise, I would probably suggest doing something, maybe eat something light. It could be like something like banana or peanut butter or whatever, or maybe some Greek yogurt with some granola. Maybe even like a small portion of chicken and rice, if that's your thing. Or if you do what I do, I don't really tend to eat much before an exercise anyway. But yeah, they've like 5 or 10 minutes dynamic stretching and go from there, mate. Right. Okay, got a few more questions to get through. I'm actually really enjoying this, to be honest. I'm going to try and see if I can pump these out every week. I'm a bit annoyed with myself for not getting these out a lot quicker, so I do apologise. Okay, Davy boy, if I only train one arm, will I get bigger than the other? Asking for a mate. My question to you, Davy, is why do you want to train just one arm? Or here's the thing, are you currently training one arm? And if so, what sort of exercise are you doing, mate? Training one arm, yeah? Asking for a mate, yeah? Okay. Right. What's the most protein I can eat before? Sorry, hang on. What's the most protein I can eat in one sitting? Um, I mean, protein is a very hard molecule for your body to digest. Thinking about it, I would suggest maybe going for anywhere between 20 to 40 grams per sitting. You don't really need any more than that, to be honest. Um, but yeah, maybe try and you can always prioritize protein with each meal you have. If you had like 3 meals a day, maybe just make protein as a priority, but rather than just cramming it all into one sitting as well, as it'd be quite taxing on your digestive system. Some people can have a bit of a tummy ache when they do things like that. Okay, do you think chicken nuggets count as meal prep if I cook them myself? I mean, I wouldn't exactly say it's the pinnacle of meal prep, but um, if you're like baking them or like pairing them with something like vegetables and rice, then it might be okay. But if you were to sort of deep fry a 20 pack and just call it meal prep, or if you were just to get like chicken nuggets from McDonald's or whatever, it's actually more of a like cheat meal in disguise. If you think about it, the amount of calories that would come with that would be insane. So probably not, mate. You're probably just better off just get carving up some chicken breasts and just whack some seasoning on it, if I'm being honest. Okay, Slim Jim. If I scream when I lift, does it make me stronger? No, not really. And this is again, I don't understand why people scream when they lift. We all, you know, we all grunt, we all exhale forcefully, but screaming, what's the point? What's the fucking point? Like, what are you trying to prove? I understand that some people might have like their headphones in, they're unaware of doing it. But if you're just Sally, down the local road and you've stepped into the gym for the first time, it could be quite, it could be quite daunting for a lot of people to walk in on that. And there's just no need for it. There is just no need for it whatsoever. Okay. Can I eat nothing but tuna for a month and still get shredded? Yes. If you are in a calorie deficit, then yeah, you will ultimately continue to lose body fat and get shredded. But I mean, why would you just want to eat just tuna for a whole month? Because yeah, although it's good for like protein, you are missing things like vitamins, minerals that you could perhaps get from like other food sources, and your life will probably just get a lot more shit. If I'm being perfectly honest, if you're just eating tuna the whole time, and you also run the risk of like mercury poisoning as well. So I would advise against it, but do what works for you, mate. Do what works for you. Sorry, I'm just trying to get through this. We've got a few more left to go. Spicy bean. Does sweating a lot mean I'm losing more fat, or am I just disgusting? Sweating doesn't necessarily mean it's a direct loss of fat loss, but I mean it's just your body cooling itself down, really. Which is why we have things like electrolytes to replenish the sodium that is lost when we sweat. Which is why I don't know if you've ever sweated before. But if you lick your sweat, it tastes salty. But ultimately, your fat loss is going to come down from burning more calories than you consume. So yeah, that's kind of that really. Gym lad 999. Can I skip leg day if I only wear jeans and no one sees my legs anyway? Mate, don't be that guy. Do not be that guy that skips leg day. I used to skip leg day, and maybe some people might argue that I still skip leg day, but I actually don't. I train legs twice a week. But ultimately, you know, you don't really want to skip leg day, mate. Try and find a plan that works. A full body split if you can, maybe like once or even twice a week. That's what I would suggest doing. Fred, if I flex in the mirror for long enough, does it count as cardio? No. I mean, I don't know. You might get like a hernia or something if you're flexing too hard, but ultimately, I don't see how this can count as cardio. Maybe if you sort of inhale your stomach fat in or whatever for a long period of time, then yeah, you might do. Okay, right. Oh, okay, there we go. That is all of the questions answered. I do apologize. I'm going to try and get some of these out a lot quicker if I can. I might try and limit these down to maybe like once a week. Ultimately, I do want to try and drop it down to maybe like, I don't know, twice a week would be nice. But yeah, if I've got the time, we are just coming into January. But yeah, awesome. Right, 25 minutes in. Lovely stuff. This will be on repeat. So if you guys just want to sit through and watch, feel free. Apart from that, I'll see you all later. Take it easy. And yeah, Might catch you guys in the new year. Ciao, ciao. Au revoir. Peace.